Well, with the beautiful christening of such wonderful children, our hearts are surely open and filled with light and love, which is the perfect place to be as we move into week 2 of the Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. How many of you have been reading this book? Good. Has it been making a difference? Yes. Well, we're going to expect great things out of Paul because he said he's reading and he's growing. That's really good. This is a great book that highlights Unity's emphasis on transformation through spiritual growth. And so today we are entering in the second week, which is all about experiencing energy. Now in Unity, we talk about energy in a couple of different ways. We talk about it first as being the life force, the creative power that flows within and all around. It's that universal energy. And it also lives within us. And if you think about Unity and its 12 powers that we identify as the God-given powers that live in us, you'll recognize 2 powers in particular that are about energy. And those are the powers of zeal, which is about the zest, the driving force, the momentum to go forward in our spiritual way. It is that push that we have within us that comes forward as God. So we have that, and the other 12 power that Unity is about is life. And so when you think about life, it has to do with the energy of living in this now moment. It has to do with being fully present today. And just think about that. When you are fully present today, when you aren't thinking about what happened yesterday, or the day before, or the year before, or the decade before. And when you aren't thinking about next week, next month, next lifetime, whatever, when you're fully present, don't you feel that aliveness within you? That's what we talk about in Unity. And so we open up to zeal in life by opening up energy within us. And I love what Michael Singer says when he talks about it. You see, he differentiates. He says that we're not talking about the energy that's out there. It's not the energy that we get from out there. He says that energy from God is infinite energy. And it's from within us. It's always present. So imagine that. Imagine having this wellspring of energy that is not dependent on any circumstance or any situation. That's a pretty powerful thing to really hold as truth, is it not? I mean, our human minds easily and readily go to, we have energy if and when. If we're in the right place, if we have the right conditions, when we're feeling a certain way. But Michael Singer tells us that energy, divine, inherent, infinite energy, comes from within us. And not only that, but we have the power to direct it when we are conscious. So I really want you to hold that thought in mind and allow that to be present as you hear the words of this song that says, more than enough. Hold energy in your heart as you listen now.
And you can join us. There is more than enough in a universe that you created. There is more than enough on a planet of sacred design. my soul know the truth. Whatever I choose to do, your infinite love will prove more than enough, more than enough, more than enough.
When we tie into God's infinite love, when we tie into God's infinite energy, there is always more than enough. And when we open up to that energy, we discover that whatever God is, whatever God can be within us, can come forward unhindered. And so today, I just want to take a little pulse of our congregation right now. So I'm going to ask you a little bit about your energy. So who is feeling exceptional energy this morning? Raise your hand high. Yes, some of you raised 2 hands. I like that, Michael. Awesome. Oh, and Norm, yes. And so how many of you are feeling maybe a little tired? Maybe you didn't get enough sleep. Maybe the weather makes you just feel kind of cozy and closed in. Maybe you didn't have your cup of coffee or your shot of Red Bull or something. Maybe you didn't do your workout so that you could really be pumped up. How many of you are feeling a little like that? Yeah, probably a little more, right? And so imagine if you challenged the logic that you needed something to give you energy. I mean, just think about that. What if you challenged that logic? Today, Debbie brought me a Diet Coke, and as soon as I took a drink of it, my lovely angel said, "See, that'll help." You know? Because we have that mentality, don't we? That we need something, that something will give it, something will move us into having energy. But Michael Singer, he reminds us that that is not the case, that we need not count on anything. He says this: you have within you a phenomenal amount of energy inside. Doesn't come from food, doesn't come from sleep. This energy is always available to you, and at any moment you can draw upon it. It just wells up and it fills you from inside. And when you're filled with this energy, you feel like you could take on the world. When it is flowing strongly, you can actually feel it coursing through you in waves. It gushes up spontaneously from deep inside, and it restores, it replenishes, and it recharges you. So this is the kind of energy that he's talking about. And I think that that is really pretty amazing, because essentially what he's saying is our energy doesn't happen to us. It comes from us. It comes from within, and it's determined by what we also give energy to. So, as you know, last week we were talking about our thoughts and awakening our consciousness. So when you think about what you give energy to, we move into Unity's third principle, which says essentially that whatever you put energy on gets magnified. Our thoughts create. So think about what you are giving energy to in your life right now. And is what you're giving energy to nurturing your soul? Is it feeding you? Is it uplifting you? Is it helping you, your family, and humanity? Now that sounds like a lot of pressure, right? But these are good questions to ask yourself. What am I giving my energy to? This energy I have within me is sacred. And so if I don't just think of it as this energy that kind of flows around and just kind of hits me here and hits me there, but if I think of it as a God-given gift, then I want to ask the question, And I want to live in the question, what am I giving energy to? And you might say, well, I was one of those people that raised my hand and don't have any energy, so I don't know what you're talking about, Myra. But here's the thing. We remember that energy lives within us, and it's always here. So I want you to just close your eyes for a minute, and I want you to check out what Michael Singer is talking about. Close your eyes and just start to pay attention and draw to your mind someone that you love. See their face inside you, feel their energy, and notice what happens to you. Do you relax? Are you filled with gratitude? Are you filled with joy, appreciation, and love or excitement? And so just stay with this as you really focus, as you really give energy to this person that you love and care for. And notice how when you came in earlier, you now feel different. You are filled with a sensation and the presence of God as love, peace, joy, and whatever. And now begin to focus on a fear within your being. Imagine that you can see or predict a fear coming true for you. Now for me, that might be that I open a closet and lo and behold, there's a rattlesnake sitting there. Or for some of you, it's going to be getting up here and speaking. Maybe I'll have a coughing spell and somebody will have to come up and give the talk. And that you might be the one chosen to do that. Or it might be that you're going through a health challenge or a life challenge or a commitment or something that scares you a little bit or a lot. And so notice how you feel. Notice where your energy is at inside you. What's going on? Do you feel some anxiety? Does your stomach get tight? Do you feel kind of shut down? Do you feel dread? And so whatever you feel about that fear coming forward, allow it to just be present as a sensation, as an experience. Can you feel it? And do you see how within 3 minutes we had 2 experiences of energy that came from within you? Nobody made anything happen. You were sitting in your seat before we did this, and you're still sitting there, unless some of you have left. But, basically, we're still sitting here together, aren't we? You have the power to choose where your energy goes and what you put your energy on. And so here's the point. The point is choose well. Choose well. Know that you have that power. Know that you have that ability. And whatever you put your energy on is what determines your state of being. I was thinking about the Sandy Hook elementary school shooting that happened back in 2012. And in particular, I was thinking about one of the mothers. Her name was Scarlett Lewis, and she had a young son, Jesse, that was shot and killed in that event. I read an interview by her, and she said that when she first went through that experience, she was filled with so much anger and so much upset, both at the shooter and his mother. She was upset about the whole situation. She was angry with God. And all of that drained her of her strength. It drained her of her well-being. It drained her of her peace. And then it came to her that that is not where she had to stay. And she began to open up to the gift of forgiveness. And when she forgave, she never made it all right that her son had died. She never made it all right that other children killed. She never made it all right that the shooter, for whatever reason, did what he did. But inside her heart, she shifted her energy, and she allowed her heart to open. And she just breathed into it. And when she did, forgiveness opened up inside of her, and it allowed her to have some peace. I think this is true for all of us. For it's easy to have positive, loving, empowering energy when life is going well and we're in a flow and all is good. But it is in those times when we are challenged, in those times when we are afraid. It is in those times when we're uncertain, hurting, that we have a choice about our energy. We have a choice in what we focus on. So we don't need to go in denial. We don't need to pretend that we aren't feeling what we're feeling. But what we can do is we can open up. We can open up and breathe into our heart, one of the core energy centers within our being. And we can just breathe into that space. Tighten and untighten. We first tighten through our experience, don't we? But then we choose to untighten, and we choose to soften those edges around our experience. And it takes time. It takes practice. It's not a technique to live in denial and pretend that we don't feel what we feel, or that we don't need to heal, or that there isn't a process. But it is an intention, and it is a commitment and a process to opening up our energy field, to say to ourselves, we are more than this. I am more than this. And when I open up to that energy, all good happens. We must remember that energy doesn't happen to us. We are the ones that determine what and how we give our energy out. Now, Michael Singer, he tells us that it happens through the heart. He says it happens because when we open up the heart, what we find is that there's a spaciousness that's inherent within us. And that spaciousness is actually very, very powerful. However, in opening up that beautiful spaciousness, what happens is we've got to be willing to release some of the blockages that we have. Do you know about having blockages? Have you done enough therapy? Do you know what blockages are? Right? Blockages are those experiences we have where we feel hurt or shut down, and we kind of contract the heart out of fear and a false sense of need of protection. Michael Singer says blockages are when you close your heart or mind. And when you do that, you live in the darkness within you. The energy, your infinite energy, is there, but it can't get into your heart when it's closed. That's such a fascinating and powerful thing when I think about how that is. So he says this. He says that a wise person, remains centered, and when they choose to open their heart, they let go every time from the energy that is contracted in a defensive mode into the energy that moves. And then when you do that, you feel your consciousness start to get drawn into it, and you relax your heart and you release. When you do this in this way, you let go. And it means you fall behind the energy that is blocked instead of going right into it. He says it only takes a moment of conscious effort and decision to say, I'm not going there. I let go, and I take the risk that I'm better off letting go than going with the dark energy. That's what it really requires. It requires a lot of courage, and it requires willingness to open our hearts, to say, I'm willing to give up this contracted, heavy space that I think in my ego is protecting me, and instead I'm going to soften those edges and let go. I'm going to allow my heart to open and experience peace, love, forgiveness, truth, whatever it is. So, let me tell you something. I was thinking about all of this, and I was all wrapped up in it, and I walked by my refrigerator last night. So, you're going to think those things aren't related, but they are. And if you have a refrigerator like mine, you have lots of magnets on it, that have meaningful, profound statements that you like when you buy them and then you forget about them. Well, I was in that state, and I was really in this about the blockages and letting go and opening up and letting be. And this magnet caught my eye. It said, I turn every experience into an opportunity. I turn every experience into an opportunity. I turn every experience in which my heart feels closed, in which I feel blocked, in which I feel shut down, and I turn it into an opportunity to feel the energy of God. And when I do that, something magical happens. Something magical happens. It is so incredible when we think about how these things go. When I think about how Scarlett Lewis must have done that. When I think about how we all can do that in our lives. So take a look for a minute, if you will. And think about how you can let go and open your heart. Think about where you can be willing right here and right now to open those blockages. And in the Hindu tradition, the Sanskrit tradition, they call them samskaras. Those traditions where we have patterns of blockages. Think about a pattern of a blockage that you want to release by opening your heart and allowing the energy of God to bring you peace. And as you do, know that you will be set free, that you will awaken in an even greater way. So I invite you in this time to just close your eyes for one moment and breathe right now into your heart. Imagine that it is expanding in God energy and light. And feel the presence of God in whatever way blesses you. Is it love? Is it forgiveness or peace? Is it courage and faith? Is it joy or wisdom? And as you breathe into your heart this way, allow the power of zeal to come forward so you feel that energy and the enthusiasm of inviting this presence of God into your being more fully. And allow the gift of life, of being right here in this now moment, to remind you that there are no limitations on your ability to feel God's energy right here and right now. So breathe into your heart and allow that flow to begin to open up even more fully. This energy of God is the energy that is infinite and eternal within you, It is God's gift to you, and it is the energy from which you are created. Hold this energy in your heart as a gift to yourself, and let it move into any space where you may have had a blockage, where you may have had resistance in the past. Just breathe this energy into those spaces. And as you do, I now invite you from this way of being, I invite you to open your eyes, and I want to share with you a little gift. This is called a mudra. And so a mudra comes from the yogic tradition. It comes from the East tradition. And it's a way of using your body, and it's a way of channeling your energy. So I invite you to put your hands like that. Spread your fingers wide, but touch your pinkies and your thumbs together. Can you do that? And know that as you look at your hand, it looks like a lotus flower, doesn't it? And we use the lotus flower in Eastern tradition because we recognize that the beauty of the bloom is above the water, and that which is the roots and that which is mucky and of the earth and so on is underneath the water. And from out of that comes this beautiful bloom. You see, our humanity and our human mind is like the roots that are underneath the water, and they're entangled, and sometimes it's very dark and grungy down there. But our spirit rises up into a beautiful lotus blossom. And it is what we see, and it is the truth of who we are. And so as you hold this mudra in your hands, know that you are aligning your energies to open your heart. You are aligning your energies to release those blockages, to know your divine self. So continue to hold this as I share with you these last words from Michael Singer. There's a place deep inside you where consciousness touches energy, and the energy touches consciousness. From this place, let go. And once you let go, every minute of every day, year after year, you will live in new consciousness. Nothing will ever be able to take your seat of consciousness from you. You'll learn to stay there. And after you've put in years and years, and you've learned to let go, no matter how deep the pain, you, dear one, will achieve a great state. You will break the ultimate habit, the constant draw of the lower self. You will be free to explore the nature and source of your true being. You will be pure consciousness. And so this is what we hold in our hearts today. We see ourselves rising in our lotus nature, and we go forward in a most beautiful way, blessed to live in the energy of God, blessed to live in truth. So be it, and God bless you all.